masters. Good day to you, partner. I'm Guy, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
Hey guys, Wheat Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. We are in beta, we're testing it, we're still shirtless, and we're trying to see how these beta changes are going to make the better game a better experience for players of all calibers and make builds more interesting. And so today we're going to see if the changes to Blood Golems make them more interesting. And TLDR, for any of my fans who don't want to watch my rippling muscles and my can I say the word nipple? Such a gross word. Anyways, people who don't want to see that, the TLDR, or listen to my awful jokes and my humor and my weaving, my Donald Trump weaving, so genius. I go here and I go there and I bring it all back together. It's beautiful. People love it, except for the liberals. If you don't want to listen to that, the TLDR is that blood golems have been made less interesting. Okay? So what is the change? Okay, the change is actually good. Okay, the change is going to be that now all sources of open wounds can apply their own stacks, while previously it was just one. So that means a barbarian, a druid with hunger, and the necromancer with blood golems could now all apply open wounds to mobs, and they each stack up to 5 times rather than 3. Okay, that's great. At even is per pet, so every single blood golem can create a stack. Now, how is that going to make them worse? Well, they lost 100, okay, on this build, 180 ED. They lost 3 ED per synergy, which is not a lot, I get it, but it adds up quick when you're budget, and we're talking about a build that already suffered from the fact that it took a while to ramp up because you had to get 3 stacks. Basically, the blood golems applying independent stacks is going to have no change on their mapping ability except for super budget, where the monsters live long enough because your damage is so low that a blood golem might attack it multiple times and they'll get hit multiple times, to where suddenly a blood golem applying 2 stacks and another blood golem applying 2 stacks now does similar damage to the blood golem previously taking 3 stacks, except it happened with only 3 interactions instead of fucking 4. So now you get it. But I was hoping that really budget, this could be the build. You finish your content, okay, you get your +5 wand, you get your +5 shield, which is pretty easy to do with shopping, rune words, etc., a random good magic. And you're like, you find +5 more skills, peasant crown, a random skill armor, a skin of the viper magi. You get what I'm laying down. You get your +15 skills. It's still day 1. You get an Act 3 merc. You give him pretty good gear. I'll get to his gear in a second because it is a bit too good. But you give him gear with FCR and hopefully he doesn't die. And you're like, I can go straight into mapping because my blood golems will over time deal damage with static shock to reduce their health, to make it all worth it, not go too slow, and this will actually work for you. It doesn't. Now, would adding revives make this better? Probably, but it defeats the purpose because we could always just run revives anyways. Now, and if you're thinking, Wheat Solo, what about your gear? And what about the Mercenary's gear? Because you said you have +15 skills, we believe you, but how good is your defensive gear? It's pretty good. Trang chest, Trang belt, Trang gloves. Would you have that much FCR? We're starting to stretch this story of a day 1 reset. Inferno Stride, nothing crazy, but still res boots, res rings, and Maras. But again, the Maras is just for the res. I think you could get a res amulet these days, especially with the new crafts, so that's not too crazy. But the train gloves might be stretching it, the amount of FCR I got, which was, I believe, actually 48 with the edge bow on. Yeah, because I have 30. No, I might just have 30 FCR actually. Okay, still, you might not even hit 30 FCR on day 1. But what about the Mercenary? Okay, he has the second to the fastest break point. I don't think that's crazy, but would you be able to get the second to the fastest break point with the amount of defensive stats that the Ondal's Wisdom Gear set provides? No. And so here's the biggest problem. You're looking at this screen, you're going, Wheat Solo, this doesn't seem that bad. Like, this is a rare map. with plus 15 skills, the Merc's gear's a little good, but shit is dying, and you're playing pretty quickly on a, relative. But he just died. And you might go, well, you made it 4 minutes, okay? If that happens, Mercs die. Well, then he died after 2 minutes, and then he died after 2 minutes. And so basically, the Act 3 Static Shock Merc has a bad rap, because I think he's one of the best Mercs in the game. But his bad rap comes from the fact that he is legitimately one of the squishiest Mercs in the fucking game. He doesn't get prayer, he doesn't get cleansing, and honestly, his damaging abilities are so whack, he doesn't consistently get life after each kill. But what does he provide? He provides Static Shock, which is a ludicrously good ability. So I go, you know what, we're going to scrap this because this is not worth your time. Like, honestly, if anybody watching that, only do it if you're telling yourself right now, I will never farm Trav. I will never farm at Eldritch Shank and Pendle any longer than I have to. I want to go straight in the maps. And then, yeah, buddy, Blood Golems might be your best bet. Like, if you're at plus 15 skills and you really want to get to mapping, they still might be your best bet, as I think they were last season. But again, and would a Static Shock Merc be good? Sure. But play safer than me, because your gear might be a little bit worse, and your Merc might have a little bit worse gear, and I couldn't play that slow. So I go, okay, what if we get the Barbarian Mercenary? He's got to be better. And of course, an IK set on day one is ludicrous, okay? But what if you crafted a sick random Maul and some good gear around him? Okay, this hypothetical is getting looser and looser all the time. Would this be good? Well, at that point, you just have an Act 5 Mercenary. And although it's going quicker, I think the reason it's going quicker has nothing to do with the fact that Battlecry is debuffing the mobs and allowing open wounds to deal damage. It's the fact that an Act 5 Mercenary with Whirlwind literally just destroys things budget, and we've always known that. Okay, so that's the story with Blood Golems. Yeah, I know. Kind of silly. But is the change good overall? Yes, it had to happen. Should they have been nerfed? I think they should revert the nerf. I might ask for it. I might not. They're clearly going to be so good for bossing, and that's what's coming next. Tomorrow I'm going to test them at bossing, and I'm going to check them at plus 40 skills real quickly. I'm probably not going to put it in a video because I don't think it's going to be interesting to watch. But, maybe something will change. Yeah, sure. And then, of course, hopefully Toplook and I can do a Power Bottoms Pods. I want to check out Bone Spear is seeming to have issues, which is funny because I don't think it had the issue that it's having now, which is hitting enemies multiple times when I was testing it on Pluggy, because I don't think the damage was ridiculous, but more news on that to come. And then someone asked if I could check out the Druid Hunger changes, and I do kind of want to check that out. I might wait until next season only because I have such good gear for it, but I will try to get to that too, because honestly, testing Ubers, and if that's all I want to test because the Necromancer changes were really light, then I'll probably do the Druid thing too, because I do think that build is pretty fun. But on the other side, the change to Spirit of Borbs and Heart of the Wolverine, allowing them to die, is going to make that build feel really bad. And by the way, Inferno Stride change, Blaze, you can now phase through enemies. Awesome. All right, guys, Skelly King out. GG.
Come play with us, Daddy. Forever.